All right, let's talk about subclips and subsequences. So I created a project that I named Subsequences, and I have a footage folder, and I have a sequence folder, and I've numerically labeled them, which you should consider doing. I also have dates. Let's say this is day 1, and I can put the day that it is. This is how you're going to want to organize things. Being organized is the key to being a good editor. If you're not organized, you're the scum of the earth. You're not, but you know what I mean. And let's make some preemptive bins. We can come down here and make a new bin and say day 2, 11/1/24, right? We can have all of our days ready so that when we import them, we know exactly where they're going to go. It's going to help us stay organized. But we know that on day 1, we shot a multicam interview that had 3 angles. And we went ahead and we put that in a timeline. I called it Subclips. Here it is. So there's a couple ways that you can go ahead and review this. Now, if you have 3 clips, you can go ahead and just like put them all on one. Okay. Let's try this again. So you should absolutely make your multicam sequences. The way you would do that, by the way, is you would highlight all the clips and audio. Mine's attached to my clips here, but make sure you select the audio that goes with your clips. Right click and create a multicam source sequence. Customize your name it something meaningful, like day 1 MC for multicam. Make your synchronized point be audio. Do a mix down. And make sure your camera names are enumerated. You can keep these guys. Let's keep it simple. We're going to press OK. It's going to generate a multicam for us, which is pretty cool. You can see that it made it a nested sequence. If I go by the name here, I look at that in the tiniest font ever. It's called nested sequence. So all of my clips are here. Where are they? Why can't I see them as multicam numbers? Well, we're going to right click, see the option that says multicam, and enable it. And now if I press 1, if I press 2, and if I press 3, all of my clips will now change from one to the next. See? Watch up here. Again, it's all blurred, but you can see the difference that I'm going back and forth between 1, 2, 3. And that's how you should be putting all your interviews that have more than one camera into Premiere. Now, say you're reviewing it and you're like, okay, this chunk over here, I really like this response, right? So we can make an add edit, which is Command K on Mac or Control K on Windows. Let's make an edit there, and let's make an edit there. We're adding an edit down the line. If I were to review that and be like, out of this whole interview, I think this is really good, and I kind of want to save it as its own sequence. Well, some editors would highlight it, copy it, make a new sequence, and put it there. And that's not very efficient. So let's go to our sequence bin over here, and let's actually make a new bin and call it Subsequences. Now watch this. This whole bit over here that I really, really like and I want to remember for later, I'm going to right click and I'm going to say make subsequence. And bam, right there, now a new sequence that says Subclips has been made. I'm going to put that in the subsequence bin. And I'm going to give it a meaningful name. I really like it because they're talking about their immigration story. So I'm going to call it Immigration Story. And if I double click it, there it is. It's its own. Premiere went ahead and generated its own subsequence out of the main sequence because we told it to. So instead of doing all of that back work, it ended up being easier for us. And you can make a bunch of these. You could say, okay, if you want audio or if you just want video, you can just select either or, but I like to include both. And I'm like, great, this part is good. Right click, make subsequence. Call it family history. And now you've created all of these subsequences just by reviewing your multicam and your interview that you can go back to and add into your main timeline. This is just a reference point, by the way. Premiere doesn't duplicate it, and it's not like there's 2 versions of each clip. It's just, again, it's subsequences. It's smart enough to make a reference link to it. Anytime you make nests, anytime you make an effect or make a multicam, make sure you put in its own bin called nests that you can refer to later So have your main, here, let's say like rough cut. Have your main cut live within your sequence, or create a whole bin with it where it's like rough cuts. Make sure you're organized. Put stuff in there. Now, if you want, you can review all your stuff, review all your clips in your source monitor, make your in and out points, and then you can actually go ahead and right click on it and make a subclip. And now you can give that a meaningful name. Before you even bring it in the timeline, you could do all of this in the source monitor. The difference is that in the source monitor, we preview source clips. In the timeline, we make sequences. So of course, by doing it in the source monitor, it's called subclips. In the timeline, it's called subsequences. And maybe, again, this is something like family history soundbite. Great, there it is. And look at how the icon is different. So I put it within my day one it's in footage, and day one with all the rest of it, except now it's kind of like its own clip. And I could go back and I can watch it. And remember, this was originally, if I go ahead and remove the in and out point so I could clear it, I could see that this whole clip is about 10 minutes and 12 seconds, but I just made my own clip that's a subclip of it that's referring to a specific soundbite that I want to remember later, and that's 39 seconds. And if I go ahead and I put that in my rough cut, there it is, the original clip. So it depends. If you want to do it just per clip, do it in your source monitor and make a subclip, right? We're on the subclip, so we actually have the choice to edit it if we want to, but we're not going to do that. And this is the edit subclip menu that comes up. You can convert it to a source clip if you want. Or you can work with your subsequences and refer to them as multicam synced with all your cameras and audio to put that in your timeline. I hope none of this was too confusing, guys. This is meant to make it easier for you. I know it's a lot of stuff, but just think of, your raw footage and your full footage, and you want to make reference points to them. Those are your subclips. Those are your subsequences. So good luck with your projects. And at the end of the day, have fun with it.